Reverend Jeanie Kerr.
Thank you. Good morning, friends.
Good morning.
If you see me up here smiling like crazy, it's because I've been away from church for a while due to a lot of family and health issues, and it's just so good to be back. But I'm also smiling because I'm seeing some people that have come quite a ways to be here, to this church. I see a friend who visits for the first time today, who was living in New York and now lives in St. Augustine. I see another lovely new face, and we welcome her to our congregation this morning. I see two members of our church who come all the way from Lakeland. I see someone else who serves as the president on our church board, who lives in Titusville. So you see, oh, we have a visitor also from Ohio. We're worth it, don't you think? Yeah, I think so. I think so. But we appreciate that people also think we're worth it. They want to come and either see what spiritualism is all about, or they know what it's all about. They're just trying to find a spiritualist church that continues to teach it and demonstrate it. I can't believe any of you will be disappointed, because Ron and I have been involved in this church for a long time now, and no matter the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the congregation comes together as one. And you don't have to be a member of the church. Of course, we welcome you. But if you are a member of the church, no matter what's going on in your own life, you get it together enough to help someone else who is really struggling. Ron and I have been the recipients of your love and your healing and your strength for the last month, and it has been phenomenal. And people say, gosh, you guys, you know, considering what you're going through, what you've been through, you're doing really, really good. And I say, well, we couldn't have done it by ourselves, that's for sure. Certainly the prayers have meant the world. And it's just wonderful when doctors give you certain things you need to be aware of. And it doesn't always turn out that way. And they are surprised. And fortunately, doctors are being more and more enlightened nowadays, and they understand the power of prayer. They've seen it in action too many times. They also are coming around to understanding our spiritual healing. At one time, many in the medical world seemed to be a little threatened by it. And we assure them, no, no, no. God has given you the ability, the desire to heal people. You have done all the work by going through years of medical training and internship. We never turn our back on that, but we kind of like to supplement it. And that makes a big difference. That and the power of positivity. Now, people often ask, you know, why does God allow this? And you may wonder the same thing if you watch the news on a regular basis, because yes, there are natural disasters with weather and volcanoes and fires and so forth. Why does God let this happen? Because we are here to learn to understand, and to go within and see these things going on. What can I personally do to make this world better? You know, spiritualists often call God infinite intelligence. And we just saw in our principles that we consider God a creative force, because we wouldn't have anything if there had not been this infinite, never-ending intelligence and love behind everything that exists. When I was a little girl, I went to Protestant churches, and I was always puzzled by the creation story. I know it's in the Bible, I know that. But I just couldn't grasp how that all happened. And especially when I got into early elementary school and we started learning a little bit about science and evolution. My pastor could only explain one part of that. My science teacher could only explain the other part of that. And unfortunately, they were one and the same person. So it depended on the setting as to which story of creation I was given. And that didn't make much sense to me either. So I finally sorted it out, made up my mind, well, yes, God is there. God made everything. But maybe 24 hours that's written about in the Bible wasn't exactly our 24 hours. And that served me very well over the years, and frankly, it still does. So God provided this beautiful planet. The variety that exists in animals, in plants, in food for us. It couldn't just happen. There had to be that spiritual intelligence behind it. We were given waters, everything from the salty oceans to beautiful fresh water, lakes and streams and rivers and creeks. And those are also teeming with life. And over eons, people learned that could be a food source as well. Nothing happens like this, including our wonderful planet, including the universe. We were given the stars and the moon and the sun. And ancient humanity were governed by those, and that's how they caught on, that this might be a better time to plant something. This might be a good time, it looks like it's done, let's harvest it. So it's not like there's a magic wand for everything, and we just take and take and take. We have to learn to respect it. We have to learn to nurture it. We have to learn not to demolish it. See, that's our part. Spiritualists are very, very big on personal responsibility. We know we were given incredible, beautiful, life-sustaining and nourishing gifts. But you know, just like a little child that gets so much bounty on a birthday or Christmas, and they get to that last thing and they say, is that all? Have we done that with our earthly gifts? Have we done that with our spiritual gifts? Did we forget that, excuse me, a little gratitude is nice? We don't want to have that expectation that everything that we have enjoyed thus far is always going to just be there for us. And that's where the personal responsibility comes in. We have to be involved. We have to be involved. So it's not surprising that we've been given these beautiful blessings by God, the Creator, infinite intelligence. But then, we are God's children. We are expected to participate. We are expected to get involved. We are expected to learn. And somewhere along the way, it finally occurs to us that, oh, it's not just physical things, it's not just material things. Oh my, I have to take responsibility for my own spirituality, my own understanding as well. Huh. That's a little scary. You mean I'm going to have to put forth some effort? You mean I've got to work at it? Well, yeah. Another reason why we're still here. If we already had all the answers, we'd be in the spiritual realms right now. Our goal is to work toward understanding and working together to continue keeping our world a wonderful place. Now, it's really easy. I know those of you who do come to church pretty frequently have made many wonderful friends, and it's great to get together again on a Wednesday or a Sunday or any other time we're doing something special, a special event, because the energy is good, and you might drag yourself in here and lightly drift out, because that's what being around others of like minds does. It strengthens us. It strengthens all of us just by being together with others of like minds. A young lady was talking to me this morning about Lilydale because she lived in the area and was able to go there often. And I have to tell you, when the Reverend Ann Otzelberger and I were co-pastors, we traveled a lot together. And everywhere we went, whether it was our national conventions or the Morris Pratt Institute meetings in Milwaukee, or we took our exams for licentiate minister and national spiritualist teacher in Lilydale with a national board. It was scary. But everywhere we were, where there were a lot of other spiritualists, oh, we would come home so excited. That was the most beautiful place I've ever been. What wonderful people, what wonderful scenery. Oh, I was so uplifted. And she was a little better off financially than I, and she always wanted to buy a home in that area. I didn't necessarily want to buy a home because I love Florida. Florida has always been my home. But I'd come home and rave to Ron about it. You know, we really need to go there on vacation. It's just wonderful. You're just going to love it. I can't tell you how many years it took Ann and I to recognize it had nothing to do with the place. It was the people. And anywhere we were, where we were around other spiritualists or spiritual people, wow, couldn't wait to get back. Couldn't wait to go back. We didn't always have that opportunity, but there was always some other place we were going to be able to go and be around spiritual people and learn, talking with one another, communicating with one another. Do you think our world needs a little more of that? I do. I do. I have a dear friend who lives out of town, and she and I are polar opposites. opposites politically. We used to have some pretty strong conversations. Gradually, we've been coming a little closer and able to talk without getting all feisty. And it finally occurred to us, well, how about that? God is working with both of us. Now, could we just get the Senate, the Congress, everybody else together to talk about it? We know whether we go for marital counseling or troubled teenagers, we know the bullying would not exist if people could just sit and discuss. Nobody has to be right, nobody else has to be wrong. We all have a little bit of both in us. And by working with one another, recognizing we're all God's children, by working together, we not only can bring such beautiful peace to ourselves, but dare I say, we could bring peace to our workplace, to our families, to our churches. We get so caught up in being overachievers. We get so caught up in that mentality that we forget we are all God's children, but each one of us is on his or her own path as well. The last time I saw my mother before she transitioned, she said she's not afraid to die. I said, good, I'm glad to hear that. She said, really, I want you to remember, I'm not afraid to die. And by the time she said it the third time, I said, Mommy, I would hope you wouldn't be. You've been a spiritualist for some years now. And she says, well, I just want you to know that. She said she had died and come back. My mom had a lot of near misses over the years where the doctor said, you know, call the family, we've done everything we can, and boy, she would bounce back. So we were a little surprised this last time when she didn't. But we said, you died and came back? When was this? And she said, just a couple days ago. I went, Ron said, did you see anybody you knew? She said, no, not yet. And I said, okay. Well, what was it like? She said, I was on a path, and it was a beautiful path. She said, it was so peaceful, and it was so loving. And I said, you know, but you were by yourself? And she said, oh yes, but I wasn't at all afraid. I've never felt so much love. And I said, well, that's wonderful. But you didn't see anybody else. And she said, well, I kind of did. She said, up here, there was another path, and there were a lot of people walking on it, but I couldn't see them real clearly. But they were all walking one by one on their path as well. And she said, I know I'm going to be up there. But right now, it was so beautiful. Isn't that what we all want? My mother was a phenomenal woman, and yes, maybe I am a little prejudiced, but I will say she is the only person I have ever known who knew how to give unconditional love. To my knowledge, and I'm an only child, so wherever my mom and dad went, I went too. I've never known her to have a harsh word for anyone. I've never known her to have any kind of a fuss with anyone. See, that unconditional love is very live and let live. She didn't feel she had to persuade anybody of anything. She knew God in her heart, and she lived it. She didn't talk about it, but she lived it. And I believe, personally, that this is what we're meant to do. God, Creator, infinite intelligence, spirit of love and light. We're all a part of that. Maybe it would be not only in our own best interests, but in everyone around us, if we could all remember that and act and speak accordingly. We can make this world a better place. We can learn from the elders. Many cultures celebrate the elders. Why don't we? We can learn from the elders, but oh my gosh, can we learn from the young ones coming up as well? Every generation seems to get smarter, but it's equally important for every generation to become more spiritual as well. We can't do that for anyone else. We can hopefully lead by example. But there's that old personal responsibility again. We have to decide, what kind of a person do I want to be? What am I here to learn? And what am I here to live? All the knowledge in the world doesn't mean a thing if it isn't put to use, if it isn't put into practice. And in this day of instant everything, we want the answers to be that way too, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. I don't know about you. Sometimes my lessons take a long time. Could it possibly be that I already thought, oh, I know that. I've got a handle on that. I read about it years ago. Maybe I need to remember to practice it. We have to keep balance, there's no question. We live in a material, earthly world, and we must be sensible about what we must do to have food and shelter, transportation. That's one very important part of our lives. But the other part is the spiritual. And you don't have to have one or the other. Why not have both? It will get you through very hard times in your life. If you know God. And it's not running around trying to find God out there somewhere. You go within. It behooves us to take a little bit of time each day to go within. Do you remember that Doris Day song, whatever will be, que sera, sera? She starts off asking her mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? And her mother says, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. As she finds a sweetheart, she asks her sweetheart, what will we be? Will we have rainbows day after day? And the sweetheart replies, Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. Until at last she becomes a mother and her children come to her and ask, will I be handsome? Will I be rich? And she repeats what her mother, what her sweetheart told her. People come sometimes to our spiritualist churches wanting their fortune told, or, what should I do? Spirit can't live our lives for us. They bring messages of love, encouragement, and sometimes a little bit of guidance. But the bottom line is we are here to experience life, to learn and to grow, and then share our understanding with others. There's a wonderful poem, and I will close with this, Song of Praise by Black Eagle, teacher of H. Gordon Burroughs, one of our pioneers. If you be out in mountain paths, beautiful moonlit sky, mountain walls on all sides, white sand beneath your feet, waterfalls in distance, falling down great rocks, with symphony we cannot interpret. Night comes upon you, and resting, you look up. Stars seem so close. You think you could pluck them. You close your eyes, and the vision still remains. What have you? God. You pass into peaceful slumber, the blankets folded tight around your form. Mists begin to fall. Darkness